Okay, the air conditioning on this Porsche, I also did this back in 2018, and it also is down to 13 psi. But this one, I know where the leak is. This one, the leak is actually the rubber hoses that go all the way. I mean, this one has miles of rubber hose on it. Okay, so we have the condenser up here. This condenser, you do not do pressures with this rear hatch open. It has to be closed. I explained this in other videos about Porsches. Porsches rely on airflow, especially when you're at idle, because there's no fan right here. This is your fan. This is like a little turbojet engine that vents air down out of the engine compartment. So you cannot have hoses coming through here. Either you figure a way how to get them down where there's actually no space to get down, and that's my vacuum pump telling me that it's been at that beeping. It's been at below 500 microns for 30 minutes. And it turns the motor speed down because it doesn't need it up anymore. Okay, that's a feature of this vacuum pump right here. So we're down, all the hoses leaking. We have a condenser right here, and there's a second sub condenser in the front. So we have from the compressor discharge going up into the condenser. Then it goes out of the condenser and it goes towards the front, and it'll come all the way up here, miles of hose everywhere. And then we'll have the dryer right here. Here's the dryer. So the dryer is right there. Let's see if I can get a picture of it. There's the dryer. Dryer's right there. There's the hose going around, looping over here. And then the hood's not open, but there's a sub-condenser, a sub-cooling condenser located underneath right here. So let's look at the sub-cooling condenser if I could get it on camera without shutting the phone off because it's really low. Let's see, can you see? There we go. Do you see the tubes? You see inside there? And the hose goes over there, and there's the other hose going from the other side. So that goes all along the bottom here to the other side, and this is a sub-cooling condenser. So just the pure liquid coming out of the receiver dryer goes through the sub-cooling condenser down here in the front. Then there's another blower fan right here that blows air over that condenser, an in and out kind of thing, to help cool the liquid, to bring the efficiency up. So then the line goes back and it travels back a mile of it back under and back over here, and then it goes to the expansion valve and meters into the evaporator, which gives you cooling. And then it comes out of the suction line, and then the suction line goes back down and around and comes back here, and what you can see right here, the suction line, and you can see it disappearing back inside there. So for every foot of hose you have, from the day it was manufactured, the hose leaks. All hoses leaks from the day they came out of the factory. As soon as it comes off that brand new roll right out of the machine, it leaks. All rubber hoses have a certain amount of small leakage. For every foot you have of hose, there's a rated amount of leakage that is normal, and then as you deteriorate and get older, that increases a little. Well, how many feet? You got about as many feet of rubber hose in this little Porsche as a big giant long 30-foot long RV almost. Not quite, but just about there. So this is a 1986, and so the hose is very old and deteriorated. 1911 of, I think that says 86. 11 of 86 Carrera. So I told him this was losing refrigerant through the hose last time. He only drives it a couple times a year and only a few miles, so it's not really that important. He's not going to spend the umpteen thousands of dollars to replace all the hoses. So here I am filling it up. It takes a couple years. Let's see, about 3.5 years for this thing to go down on charge. And it is a 47-ounce system with R134, about 42-ounce system, something like that. I'm just giving you an off my head number right now. But you do not fill them up. If it says R12, And let's give you an even number. Say R12 and was supposed to be 50 ounces. You don't go R134 and 50 ounces. You'll have way too much in there and you'll have too high of a head pressure. So this one here would be new receiver dryer, all new hoses. Since you're already pulling the hoses off the expansion valve, at this age you would change the expansion valve, you would flush out the evaporator. And because this compressor is so easy to remove while you were doing the hoses, if you weren't going to replace the compressor, you would take the compressor off and pour out all the oil and pour in back in the proper amount and type of oil for a R134 retrofit. That's how you would normally do this vehicle if you want to do it correctly and solve all its leaking issues and get it back up this hub. And another thing, if you did want to replace this, you would try to find a condenser from some sort of manufacturer who could put a custom made condenser in here that is parallel flow microchannel to improve the cooling up here. But then you have to remember you will have to adjust the charge, because microchannel condensers are critically charged and it would greatly reduce your refrigerant charge if you convert it over to a microchannel. And you could even throw a microchannel on the front up there. And on this front subcooling condenser, the blower motor is out on it right now, so it's not getting much subcooling. But because we're in cold weather right now, it's nice and foggy upstairs, the temperature has dropped to about 58 degrees. We don't need no subcooling. But other than that, that's a $700 motor from Porsche. He found one from SFF, I think he said, just the motor, not the whole assembly. And for $85, he could get that $700 motor and just take apart the original motor out of the assembly and the cage and replace the motor only. So $700, $85. Which one do you want to do? And all right, so I'll get onto this. We'll have another video on this when I charge it back up.